So when it comes to making decisions on buying crypto, the first thing many people do is go look around at what everyone else is doing and what everyone is talking about. And the people that everyone always looks around and sees what they're doing is usually Kols and influencers. You know, if you don't know what a Kol is, it's a key opinion leader, someone that has pretty much a influence on their audience that follows them. That's pretty much who projects look for when it comes to talking about their project, shilling their project, and everything like that. Everyone in the crypto space is just trying to navigate, especially beginners, and they try to see who's been here for the longest, trying to see, you know, who's reputable, what everyone is talking about, and where everyone is gravitating towards. And you know, with this huge event that just happened with OPSEC, it has really, you know, a lot of people questioning who they're getting their information from and what these Kols and influencers have a part in terms of these projects. If they're just someone that's shilling it with no depth, or if there's someone that actually following the project, really interested in what they're bringing to the space, and they're actually, you know, funneling something that's amazing for everyone in the crypto space. But in today's video, I want to talk about if you should trust influencers, Kols, everything around that, what I think, my perspective, the top things that I look around for, you know, these influencers in the space, and just, you know, navigating the space as a beginner and, you know, looking at these Kols and influencers. But before we jump into it, if you guys are new to the channel, go check out all my other content. I'm just a beginner in the crypto space, showing my wins, my losses, my crypto portfolio, and my perspective on everything else that's happening in the crypto space. But let's jump into it. So whether you're a beginner or you've been here for a while, we have a few people that we follow in the space that we think are reputable, that we love to follow, and everyone has their own cup of tea. Everyone finds, you know, specific people to be scammers, other people find them to be amazing people. So it all depends on your perspective and what you've learned throughout their calls, mentions, and everything like that. I've only been here for a few years, and I've built up, you know, a few people that I really trust in the space, but I've also came across people that I thought I trusted, and they turned out to just be scammers. With the OPSEC situation that actually happened, I was an influencer that people are talking about how he's just a scammer, how he just shills projects and doesn't really care about what's behind it. And you know, there's other projects that this influencer is attached to that is causing, you know, sour sentiment, and that's where you have to start to do your own due diligence and figure out, you know, if a project is actually legit or if it's fake. So when it comes to these Kols, influencers, there's 5 things I think that you should keep in mind whenever you're navigating and figuring out if there's someone that you should be listening to. But I got the handy dandy notebook right here. I want to take you guys through the 5 things that you guys should really keep in mind when navigating these Kols and influencers, and you know, if they're just talking out of their ass or if they're actually going to bring something of value that can change your life. But let's jump into number 1. So number 1, the expertise and knowledge. Some influencers and Kols have a strong understanding of blockchain technology, the cryptocurrencies that have been in the space, fundamentals around the markets and everything else. But some influencers are just, you know, riding the wave and just hang on to all that hype that goes on. And if they don't have that expertise and knowledge, you should really get away. 2, transparency and integrity. Depending on the influencer, if they're shilling projects and talking about specific things, whenever, you know, they have a bad call or whenever something goes south, are they, you know, being transparent with it? If they're showing their portfolio, are they showing the wins and losses? Are they showing you guys everything that's going on within what they're talking about, or are they just blowing everything over? If there's someone that just shills something and then next month they're shilling the next thing, you should really not be focused on them, and that's kind of a given. I feel like, you know, even if you're a beginner, you should understand that. But you know, integrity and transparency is one factor that you can really determine if someone is legit. And with transparent integrity, it comes with really like making investments into coins or having affiliations with projects. People I like to follow, like Crypto God John or Alex Becker. People have called these guys scams, but you know, Alex Becker has a Neo Tokyo community. He doesn't invest into a project unless he really believes in it, and he's straightforward talking about projects that he's invested in. I like that transparency. I like that he's building long term. So I really think Alex Becker is someone that's here for long term. Is all his calls amazing? No, they're not. But you shouldn't take everything word for word, which I'm going to jump into on another point. But overall, you got to look at that transparency. It's going to be a really big key factor if the influencer that you're following is actually doing legit stuff. 3, their track record. A lot of influencers have created multimillionaires, people that have created, you know, financial freedom, and it's amazing. People are very, very thankful to these influencers and these Kols. And you got to check, do they have a track record like that? Have they made good calls? Or are they just shilling stuff with no depth, with no proper analyzation of the project? projects. Me, I like to understand everything in between. I'm still a beginner, so I have to learn everything, and whenever I don't understand something, I have to go and learn it. And you know, all these different perspectives, you got to just keep in mind all those different factors. And a track record is going to be one of the biggest things you can really look at to determine if someone is going to be successful. 4 guys, diversify your sources of information. I always tell everyone on this YouTube channel, this is not financial advice, and anyone that you get information from should not be financial advice and should not be the final source of information that you get. You should always be cross-checking information with other Kols, with other influencers. See the patterns that are happening in the space and figure out if this is something that you want to get on board with, or it's something you want to avoid. With a recent project I got into, Hash AI, there's been a few updates around the project with a few Kols influencers like Crypto God John and a few other people that I've been seeing in the space, and it's given me a few red flags because they're all saying almost the exact same thing, which is creating this pattern of uncertainty, just in my opinion. But that's why you need to be cross-checking all the sources of information, figuring out where you're getting all this data from and where these people are getting their information from, to figure out if that is good information. At the end of the day, getting your information all from one Kol or one influencer is a horrible decision, especially if you have someone like this guy who just scammed everyone on the OPSEC situation. You are going to get wrecked, which a lot of people got wrecked. I feel bad for those people, but that's why you got to do your research, understand and diversify your sources of information. And 5 guys on the list, which I think is the most important out of all of these, is critical thinking. If you don't have critical thinking, you cannot do step 1, 2, 3, or 4. You need to be able to come to your own expertise, to your own analysis, to your own conclusion, because if you're basing everything off of what everyone else is saying and then that's it, you just throw everything in the wind, throw your money towards a coin, you're going to get shreked. I did that when I first got started. I trusted influencers, I trusted Kols, just because I felt like they'd been here for longer than me. They know what they're talking about. People wouldn't be following them if they weren't legit. But at the end of the day, people are people. You won't know the true value of something or somebody until you go through it firsthand experience. And you can really, avoid that by looking at the past information that's going on with the specific Kol or influencer by doing some basic critical thinking, seeing the conclusions, seeing what everyone's talking about, and deciding if that is the truth or not. At the end of the day, no one knows what is going on in this crypto space. Even top influencers and Kols sometimes get screwed over from top projects because they even don't do their due diligence. And that's why it's really crazy in this crypto space. Putting your reputation on the line is so easy, especially when someone is like, hey, here's $20,000 worth of a coin, go ahead and talk about it, we're doing amazing things. Everyone is gonna go and jump into that, especially if they have no integrity within themselves. Me, I'm trying to build a proper brand, trying to show everyone what's possible as a beginner. I will never attach my name to money that will destroy my reputation, because there is so much more in what I am trying to offer to people than a check that someone is giving to me. At the end of the day, there's going to be so many projects, there's going to be so many communities, there's going to be new influencers, there's going to be new Kols, and you have to do your due diligence to figure out what is good and what is not. At the end of the day, like how I said, I'm just a beginner in the crypto space. I'm showing you guys my portfolio, my wins, my losses, and just being transparent throughout this whole process. If you guys are new to the channel, I would really appreciate it if you go check out all my other YouTube videos. Drop me a like, drop me a comment, subscribe. It really helps me, all the stuff that you guys put on this YouTube channel. But that's why I'm creating videos like this, just to educate you guys and show you what's going on and my perspective on the space. Overall, should you trust influencers and Kols? Yes and no. Some people, at the end of the day, have good thesis, have good understanding, have been here in the space, but the projects is, the other part of that. You got to do your due diligence, do your research, and base that information off of what everyone else is talking about and come to your own conclusion. Influencers are going to give good calls, and they're also going to give bad calls. It's all part of it. But if you take everyone's word for word, you are going to get shreked, and you're going to be feeling sorry for yourself, and you're going to be calling people out. At the end of the day, influencers are influencers and Kols are Kols. They have a job to do. They're gonna, either be very good about it or they're gonna be very slimy. So you gotta figure out who you're gonna follow and how you're gonna navigate this space. But guys, I'm currently on my lunch break at work. I'm in a parking lot right now. If you're new to the channel, like I said, go check out the rest of my content. I gotta get back to my job. It is Friday. I got a few different things I got to do. But overall, guys, influencers, Kols, navigating the space, it gets really crazy, and you got to really do your own due diligence to figure out what's working and what's not in the space. But guys, if you're new to the channel, like I said, go check out the rest of my content. I drop daily content, so hopefully I see you tomorrow for tomorrow's episode. But guys, I really appreciate all the support y'all are giving me. Drop me a like, drop me a comment, subscribe. Let me know if you guys have any suggestions for future content, and just be sure to stay tuned. Other than that, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.